So frightening, but so exciting. Listen to this. Get that camera out of my face.
Paparazzi.
In the last episode of MJ's Sailing, we began making our way north through the Abacos with a plan to head back to Florida shortly. On our way, we stopped for a few days in Powell Key to try and get in a little snorkeling and spearing, and finally found the trail leading to the North Bluff with spectacular views of the anchorage. Leaving Powell Key just as the sun came up in the morning, we had our sights set on a full day of sailing to get across the Little Bahama Bank over to Great Sale Cay, a distance of about 45 miles. We knew we'd have to keep a minimum of 5 knots of speed the entire time to make it, but with a gentle breeze blowing from our stern, we had a feeling it would be a beautiful day of downwind sailing. Right now we are beginning our approach into the Double Breasted Cays in the northern Abacos. We were given a forecast which shows for really light winds tomorrow, so we thought when we got to Great Sale Cay that we would be spending a few days there getting in the water, exploring, but it turns out there wasn't as much to do there as we thought. So, looking for a guidebook, about 16 miles north we found this set of islands, which the guidebook just made look really, really cool. Probably about as close to anything as a sound blast that we're ever going to get in our sailing features. So, decided to take some light, kind of easterly winds to do the sail up. I think we have maybe had 10 miles on our back quarter. It's getting even lighter, but that's a good thing because the anchorage that we're planning at for today doesn't have protection from the east, so it's kind of a good thing that they're dying down now. But yeah, I mean, we decided that if we've got a day or two before we can head back to Florida and there's not going to be wind to sail anywhere, then why not put ourselves in the most picturesque spot in the Bahamas that we're near. So we're really excited to get the chance to make our way up here, which wasn't our intended path before, and check them out because they do look like a really beautiful set of islands. Although the Double Breasted Cays looked gorgeous to visit, they didn't come without their difficulties of entering. Of the two options, one, which looked to be a minefield of coral and rocks to the north, we chose the entrance to the southeast. Although fairly straightforward, this entrance continues to narrow as you follow it in toward a little spit of land called Sand Key. On your port side, the water shoals further and further into the channel, forcing you to favor the starboard side and the long line of coral running along that edge. Near the end of that channel, just before it begins to open up again, it is barely a boat length wide. Staying extremely focused on 2 sets of charts, plus Matt's visual aid, we managed to squeeze through with no problem at all.
Well, we unfortunately did not get the dinghy down to do any exploring. We came in about 2 hours before sunset and it was still pretty overcast and we could see a storm off in the distance that we weren't sure if it was going to hit us or not. So we've just been relaxing. Sun is just starting to kind of come out from under the clouds right now. Looks like we're going to have a gorgeous sunset. So trying to make some pita bread right now with no recipe. It should be interesting, so we can have pita chips and hummus tomorrow, do some exploring. We were able to check the weather. We had been planning on just staying here tomorrow and then heading out the day after for Florida, and then I don't know, might be able to stay an extra day, so we'll have to see what happens, but quite happy with this spot. Another perfect Bahamian anchorage. We've got a gorgeous sunny day in the Bahamas today, and so we're gonna we just put the dinghy down and we're gonna do a little exploring before lunch, just kind of check the place out, and then go back to Elements and eat something, and then see if there's something worth diving. But oh yeah, so we're like literally right next to the Atlantic Ocean. We're open to it from the east, which is why we didn't want strong east winds coming in. But look how incredibly calm it is out there today. Huh?
That's north.
I thought that was north. Okay. Well, anyway, I guess we're exposed from the north too, but look right out here to the Atlantic Ocean. And the area we're about to head into now is another anchorage. If you're not anchored, we're a little spit by Sand Cay. There's a strip of water between two sets of coral on each side that you can also anchor at, but surprisingly there's not many people here. But yeah, I guess we're going to just take a look at it too, see if there's anything good here worth getting in the water for, and just take in these beautiful sights. We took the dinghy in as far as we could with the motor, but I don't know if we're just close to low tide. There's still bits of it we're going to have to walk through. So, well, right now it's just Matt because he wouldn't wait for me to stop filming this, so right now Matt's just walking us through. And I'm adding weight. I don't mind helping you.
What I'm here for.
And you can see Elements in the background there, and the little catamaran that's here with us. But otherwise, we are very secluded here, and it is stunning. So happy
Look
to
at
come
this
here.
water.
This water is unreal. This is our life, and we love it.
Wow, it's beautiful.
We found a shark that we're trying to sneak up on.
A little baby.
Just a little guy. Kind of got in way of our way, so Matt's turned off the outboard and is rowing us there now.
I don't know if that thing's quieter.
Yeah.
On the surface it's quieter, but...
Just a little disturbance in the water now.
Yeah. And the shark's like, meh.
Nah, no thanks. Okay. After doing a little exploring in the dinghy, we decided to make ourselves some lunch, a nice picnic of sandwiches and some beers, and decided to come here to Sand Cay just to relax, maybe get the drone up for some good shots. And we brought Georgie because we thought she might want to stretch her feet. But if you can hear her right now, she's still in her kind of timid, I don't know what's going on phase, so...
She's enjoying herself, she's running around, but she's doing nothing but yelling.
Yeah, so give her a few minutes and then she won't want to leave. We're just going to chill at Sand Cay for a little bit, relax, have a beer, and then bring the cat back, grab our snorkel gear, and check out some coral that we found earlier in the dinghy. Georgie girl, we're gonna go exploring. You wanna come with us, or are you gonna sit here? You gonna try and eat stuff? Have a little roll in the sand. So we must be getting near low tide because on the other side we can see this big bar of sand just opening up. So I'm gonna go check that out, finish our beers, have a nice little swim, and just enjoy the day. Matt's already finished his beer. Beer. Now this spot here is exactly what you think of when you think of picturesque Bahamas. Georgie wants to join us.
You got lonely over there.
Yeah, you want to come for a walk? But this has everything. Crystal clear waters of every color. Nice sandy beaches. We think there's some coral. We've seen sharks. Areas that get dry at low tide. Oh, Georgie found a lizard. So as you can tell, we all love it here.
Yep.
It's so frightening. So frightening, but so exciting. Listen to this. Get that camera out of my face.
Paparazzi.
After so many letdowns already this year when it came to finding a decent spot to get in the water and snorkel, we were more than excited that our dinghy excursion showed a few promising areas where we might actually see some fish, and Matt might finally be able to catch us a little dinner with his pole sphere. Heading out to the narrow strips of water between the lines of coral rock, we'd already marked exactly where the best spots were. It was still amazing as we dropped the dinghy anchor how extremely calm and clear this water was, and even from the surface, you could see everything happening below. Underneath, it was a whole new world. We couldn't turn our heads without seeing dozens of different kinds of coral and fish. Plus, with it being such a clear and calm day, visibility was spectacular. We were shallow enough that all the light from the surface danced on the seabed below, leading to one unforgettable show. Matt was in heaven with hundreds of fish swimming around him, and there was no shortage of choices for dinner. We knew we'd truly found a little slice of paradise, tucked away in the northern Abacos. Taking a chance with this unplanned and spontaneous stop to the Double Breasted Cays was one of the best decisions we could have made while cruising the Abacos. It was like nothing we'd ever seen in our lives. While making our way in a few months before, we thought we already knew everything the Bahamas had to offer us from previous trips to the Exumas and Ragged Islands. But we were so incredibly wrong. The Abacos could almost be their own country, as they seemed so vastly different from the island clusters we'd cruised before. And Double Breasted Cay surpassed any expectations we could have had. With tantalizingly clear waters and just little beaches of sand which dry out at low tide, who knew a place like this could exist so close to our backyard? With round 1 of Bahamian cruising coming to an end, we could not think of a better place to go out on. Join us for the next episode of NJ Sailing, where we have a very wet ride on our Gulfstream crossing back to Palm Beach. And finally find ourselves at Peanut Island on the weekend to experience the absolute madness of all the locals coming out to let loose on their day off from work and responsibilities.